Hey, I'm Billy Hollowell. Welcome to Pure Talk, a show brought to you by pureflix.com. I am here today with actor Jamie Nieto. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Billy.
Thanks for coming on. So you are in Hilton Head Island, which is a show on pureflix.com. I got to ask you a bunch about this because the show is obviously coming back for a second season, and you play Nick Elliott, a chief
Yeah.
surgeon in the series. What do you like most about playing Nick?
Nick is fun. He's he works with well, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling here. I'm trying to think because it's been such a long time since we've been on set. But he's a doctor, and he basically looks at X-rays and things like that to help people with cancer and things like that. He's a nuclear. I'm trying to remember the name of his actual title. It was like field of study or something like that. But yeah, it's
He's a
been great.
brain. He's a very smart guy.
He's a very smart guy that doesn't remember his own title. But yeah, no, it's been great. It's been great working with the actors. Being on set has been amazing. Everybody's so accommodating, and working on the green screen is a little new for me, but you pick it up pretty fast, and everybody's really professional, and I have a great time with them.
Any fun on-set memories or bloopers or just anything entertaining that happened while you guys were filming this latest set of episodes?
Um, I remember the co-stars sometimes would order food, and they always ordered some great food. That was great.
Food is always
Great.
a good one.
They ordered from a place called Porto's, which they do some really awesome desserts, and it's kind of like a Cuban food place. And I remember that. That was nice.
So you've gone into acting and performing now. You have a fascinating life story, fascinating history. You're a two-time Olympian high jumper,
Right.
and I want to talk through that and then some other elements in your life. But what does it take to get to the Olympics?
A lot of faith, hard work, and dedication. I wasn't the most talented athlete in my high school. I just worked really hard, and I actually kind of started a little late. I started my junior year of high school, and it was a thing for me that was really fun, and I just discovered a passion for it. And so it was never really work for me. I just had a lot of fun doing it. And luckily, God blessed me to continue to excel and exceed at it. But I wasn't great at it. Like I said at first, I wasn't the top high school jumper. I wasn't the top junior college jumper, but I became that. It took me time, but I became that. And yeah, that's kind of the road and the journey for me.
What were the biggest lessons? I would imagine it's an ultimate test to make it to the Olympics, then to compete in the Olympics. What were some of the big lessons you took away from the two Olympic Games that you participated in?
Well, for me, it's not always like you're number one, you stay number one forever. Like for me, I know a, in my career, I had more downtime, more down. I don't want to say years, but there was more down years and up years. But it was those up years that made everything worth it. It was those years where people didn't think that I was going to make the team. People kind of counted me out, and I was able to come back and persevere and become a champion again. So those kind of things really stick out to me. Um, you know, I was able to travel the world, which was amazing. I've been to over 35 different countries, and that was a blessing to just be able to meet new people and learn and experience different cultures and things like that. So I learned a lot with the track and field. It was a beautiful experience, and I thank God for it because after track, a lot of people don't really find or discover another passion, and I was lucky enough to be able to do that with my writing, acting, and producing. So I'm having a lot of fun with that, and I don't feel like I'm working.
Well, not a lot of people can claim that they've been Olympians and also actors. And so you've had these two really interesting careers, which are very different in so many ways. And you've been open in sharing your ups and your downs. And not long ago, a couple years ago, I believe you had a pretty horrific injury that you sustained while you were, I guess, training some Olympic hopefuls, some athletes. Can you take us through that injury a little bit? I know that it left you initially paralyzed.
Right, right. So I was injured in 2016. I was coaching some athletes, like you said, and we were doing some training drills. And through my career, at the end of my jumping, especially at huge competitions, I would do a backflip in celebration. And so we were kind of on the side and we were doing backflips, and my foot slipped. And I basically went from my feet to my head, and the disc in my neck slipped and bruised the spinal cord. And that left me paralyzed from my chest down. I couldn't move. And they had to medevac me from the track, or well, not straight from the track, but from nearby the track to the hospital. And then from there on, it was really just, they basically took the disc out of my neck off of the spinal cord and fused C3 and C4. And after that, it was just kind of a recovery game. And so, you know, a lot of faith, a lot of prayer, a lot of hard work has allowed me to get to the point where I'm able to move everything in my body again. I'm getting stronger, I'm getting better. And, you know, just trying to share that testimony to people that, you know, never give up, never lose that faith, and continue to pray, and God will see you through some of the most toughest and hardest times in your life.
I've read some of the things you've said about this injury in the past, and that you sort of knew the minute that you were in the air, you know, that this wasn't going to go well, that, you know, the flip was not going to go well. What was going through your mind as you were laying there in the wake of that, in the immediate wake of that injury?
Right. The first thing that went through my head was, it was a voice that basically said, "Don't worry, you'll be okay. You just got to go through this." And I was like, "What is that?" And then I was trying to feel, you know, like trying to move my body, and my body wasn't moving. And that was scary. And then the panic kind of started to set in, and I started thinking of basically my life and people who have been injured and had spinal injuries or were in wheelchairs. Did they ever walk again? Did they break their neck, and were they able to, you know, run again? Or, you know, all these different thoughts kind of ran through my brain. And so I tried to stay calm because I didn't want to panic. And as I was laying there gasping for breath, I just asked one of the athletes, I said, you know, call 911, I've been hurt bad. And then they did. And luckily there was another one of my athletes who's fairly faithful to the Lord. And I just asked him to pray for me. And I don't want to say fairly faithful, but he's faithful to the Lord. I don't know why I said fairly faithful, but he actually had his Bible there, and he just, you know, he started praying for me, and I just kind of laid there until the paramedics came.
Wow. And I know doctors had initially said that you had a 30% chance of getting your mobility back. I believe I read that about your story. And how did you, knowing that voice that you heard in your head, that you could just got to go through this, you're going to be okay, how did you respond to doctors telling you that you had that 30% chance?
Well, they never really initially told me. They told my wife, and then she told me. But when I found that out, it just, to me, it was like, no, I'm going to make a full recovery. God has already promised me that I will make 100% recovery. So that's what it is. I mean, I understand that's your theory of what you think is going to happen, but I know what's going to happen. So I say that in the sense of, I sound very optimistic and positive, and I am. But there was some down times too. There's some times when, you know, I got frustrated, and still do get a little frustrated, but you know, I go back to prayer, and then, you know, he shows me that, hey, you're getting there. And I ask for God to encourage me every day, and that I recognize that encouragement, and I do my best to do that as well, you know.
What were the biggest lessons in that process? Because I would imagine the last 2 years have been, as you said, there are the up moments, there are the really difficult times. What are the big takeaways that you've had, maybe about life, about God in that process?
One of the biggest things is life is precious, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, you could be on the top of the world physically, as fit as you could ever be, and then the next thing you know, you can't move your body. You know, so take that time cherish your loved ones. Reach out to those people who are on your mind. You know, I didn't know a lot about family because I grew up with just my mother. And so my wife now, she has a huge family and they're so supportive. And to kind of see how a family works was another lesson that I really learned, you know, other than my own family. That was very impactful. And a lot of other lessons that I don't know how much time we have, but you know, it's just a blessing. You know, definitely patience is a huge thing. You know, to be injured, and now I'm 2.5 years later, and I'm walking with forearm crutches. You know, which is great. It's a huge progress, but I want to be better yesterday. You know, I want to be running yesterday. You know, but I just gotta, like I said, just be patient, stay faithful, keep praying, and I'm getting strong every day, and I notice it. You know, sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big, but I notice it. So, and then people notice it too. They're like, "Man, I saw you last week. You didn't look as strong as you look today." And I was like, "I feel stronger today." You know, so thanks. You know, and I'm starting to learn to drive again and do all that stuff. So I'm slowly, like this year, I've kind of been slowly getting back into my normal life again, which has been great with the acting and the writing and the producing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it has to be so difficult to go from Olympic athlete, right? You're so active, you're running around, to having to relearn how to do everything that you were able to do so easily before. I would imagine you appreciate things a lot more as that process unfolds.
Yeah, you do appreciate things a lot more. You never really realize how much you take things for granted just on your normal everyday life. You know, I mean, walking, okay, but I'm saying like getting up out of the bed, like I couldn't do that. Being able to open and close your hands, I couldn't do that. Brush your own teeth, feed yourself. Like these are such minute things that you learn as a baby, and to not be able to do them as an adult could be very frustrating, you know. And you know, you take those things for granted. So I don't anymore, you know. I watch people a lot walking and running and doing those type of things, just driving or just on a normal everyday basis. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to visualize myself doing those things again. And I do. And I am, you know, I can walk without the forearm crutches. I just, my confidence is not as high yet and my balance is not as great, but I can walk without the crutches. And there's small steps, but small steps lead to big steps, you know?
So Jamie, last question for you. What's your advice for people who might be struggling? They might be where you were 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and they're looking for hope and they're having a hard time finding it.
My advice would be just to never give up. Just stick in there. Keep God first. Keep praying. And don't let anybody tell you can't do something. You know, it might be tough or difficult at first, but eventually it'll get easier. You know, there's a lot of things that I was doing and learning, and they were difficult for me to do. And I was like, man, maybe I just need more time to get better. But I just kept trying. And then eventually it got easier. And I was like, okay, it's not as hard anymore. Oh, my hands are working a little bit better. I can pick that up a little bit better. My grip is getting stronger. You know, it just took time. So, you know, be patient, keep God first, and you know, never give up. And your only limitations are what you believe them to be. So believe that you can be better than what you ever thought you could be.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us. You can check out, everyone watching, you can check out Hilton Head Island, the 2nd season coming soon. And you can also check out the show next week at facebook.com/PureFlix.
Here's the deal. PureFlix.com has 6,500 titles you can watch right now. That's way too many to show you in just 90 seconds, but you know what? Here we go.
I'm the man, you were the dog. I am talking to a dog.
How many times do you know the directions to your house, but you listening to the phone?
Yeah.